The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
Indeed. I don't even know how I say that. Indeed. That hurts. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, you listen to
It's the Wait a Minute Show
on the Two Live Stools Radio Network, coming to you Wednesday night from Hot Atlanta, which has been kind of chilly, but it's been getting warm as the day go on. But Hot Atlanta, and we are in the Lions Den studio bringing you the sports cocktail mix to y'all tonight. A little update, and this game is really tight. I'm sure y'all know. But Denver and Minnesota is tied. This thing may go into overtime. It looks like it's about 4 seconds left in the game. And no one wants to go home. Let's just put it that way. No one is trying to go home. And winner gets into the playoffs. So the playoffs has already started. Jokic is balling. He got 35 points tonight, so he definitely doesn't want to go home. Jimmy Butler and Cat Towns both, they got 26 and 24 points each, so this is a game that may go into overtime if it hasn't already. I'm just trying to keep up with it. Other games that are over and said and done is Philadelphia took care of business, 130-95. Milwaukee, what happened? OKC beat Memphis 137-123, so that's no surprise there. And Cleveland, they just said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're still in the playoffs, man. We're still in the playoffs. They lost to the New York Knicks 110-98, and the Pelicans handled business with the San Antonio Spurs by the tune of 122-98 as well. Boston got a win over Brooklyn in 110-97. So we got some West Coast games that's going to be kicking off a little bit. Utah and Portland, Houston, Sacramento, and the Clippers and the Lakers in the LA city. So they finishing out strong in the city of LA. But everyone is going to be watching this whole Denver, Minnesota to the end. And actually, Miami and Toronto has a tight game as well. Only a 2-point difference. And actually, that game just got tied up. So it's 105 apiece. Toronto and Miami. So just to give you a little bit of a update, if you are not able to be in front of your TV to know what's going on in the NBA as everyone is finishing out the regular season and teams are getting ready for the playoffs to make their playoff push to try and get that almighty trophy that has probably eluded a lot of people in the mix. But now, I talked to you before the break, and I said we were going to get into, Rookie of the Year and Coach of the Year and all that good stuff. So we'll start with Rookie of the Year. It's pretty much down to two people, it looks like. Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons got drafted last year, but he did not play, so he is treated as a rookie this year. And Donovan Mitchell and, the media and Ben Simmons seems like they kind of been going back and forth at each other. I don't think it's anything really serious. It's just them, guys just being, super competitive. But it's down to those two. And it's pretty much who you got. Who you taking? Who do you want as your Rookie of the Year? Now, I can tell you right now who I'm going to pick. I have no problem taking Donovan Mitchell as my Rookie of the Year. Ben Simmons, don't get me wrong, the brother has ball, and I may hold against him that he got drafted last year, but he did not play. So, there's something to be said about that. Your Rookie year is your first year that you actually play. And this is his first year that he actually played. So he didn't play last year. So what he's basically done in the season, he almost played all 82 games, but he's averaged 20 points a game. Not 20 points, 16 points a game, 8 assists and 8 rebounds. So he's in that realm, kind of like with Russ, a few more rebounds here and there, he could have had a triple-double, on his team. His team is in third place right now. They look like they locked up the third spot with that mashing that they put on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, but the thing I will say, about Ben Simmons, and he has helped this team because Joel Embiid was on a minute restriction. And now Joel Embiid is, out, as well with the orbital bone injury. He has them third in the East with 50-plus wins. 50-plus wins. For a team, now it's 51, but the process is here. The process that they were talking about trusting is here. So these are the points that you can, argue, for it. He is the best person, best player, on their team. This is a dramatic jump from where they were, definitely as bottom dwellers for a long time. And then he comes and he makes this difference, for the team. Now, Donovan Mitchell, they haven't played tonight yet, but they're 47-33. They, or actually, I think I missed out a game, but they're not going to finish at 50 wins, but close to it. They could finish close to 50 wins. Donovan Mitchell, to me, before I say that, he's averaging 20 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. So he's not averaging the same thing as Ben Simmons. That is a tremendous stat line that Ben Simmons has for someone in their first year playing ball. But here's why I have Donovan Mitchell as the Rookie of the Year. We've talked about all year. Strongest conference, Western Conference, not the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to say the East is just weak, but we know there are some stronger teams out West. And this kid has went out there and showed that the Utah Jazz belongs, and that he belongs in this league. That's one thing. So, and they're sitting fourth. So they're right there in the mix, of being, a top 3 team. And they're a scary team that nobody wants to see. But here's where I give the edge. No one would have had Utah where they are now, losing Gordon Hayward. They wanted Gordon Hayward so bad, and they knew by Gordon Hayward leaving that they were taking a step back. But they did not know what they were getting in Donovan Mitchell. Again, he plays in the West, which is a stronger conference, stronger teams that he has to see night in, night out. He averaged more points than Ben Simmons, doesn't get the rebounds or the assists like Ben Simmons, but he has asked more to do than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons does have now, but he didn't for the season, Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz will be there, so I'm not going to use him, but he does have J.J. Redick. He did have Embiid, on that team. And although Donovan Mitchell had guys like Joe Ingles, and Rudy Gobert and everything, it was looked on him to be the difference maker. And to me, he has proven that. He has done what he needed to do. Donovan Mitchell might have been an all-star if he had played in the Eastern Conference. I think he just had to serve his time. And that's why, just like Ben Simmons did, but I think he could have been an all-star. I think they wouldn't have been able to deny him, that fact. So, Rookie of the Year for me, I'm going with Donovan Mitchell. I think, and last but not least, I think he capped it off because he murdered somebody yesterday, and it was Draymond Green. So, if you haven't seen that, that was just ugly. Draymond Green, I think, is the reigning defensive MVP of the league. If I remember right. If not, the year before he was. And it was so nasty, that crossover. When Draymond hit the ground, his body slapped the basketball court. He didn't fall. His body slapped it like his hand, like that. You just heard something go slap. And it wasn't even Rick James and Charlie Murphy. Yeah, RIP to both of them. But Donovan Mitchell is he's not normal. He is not normal. So that's why I have Donovan Mitchell as my rookie of the year, Now, coach of the year, this is a lot harder choice. And honestly, I don't know who. I think I've narrowed it down to 3 coaches, and here are some of the coaches that you could put up for this award. Portland's Terry Stotts, Utah's Quinn Snyder, Toronto's Dwayne Casey, Boston's Brad Stevens, Mike D'Antoni of the Houston Rockets, and Brett Brown of the Philadelphia 76ers. And I know everybody is watching, that game for Denver and Minnesota. Right now, Denver is up by 1. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to go ahead and X out D'Antoni. He won last year, and I shouldn't take that away from him. But, you get CP3, what do you expect? You should go up, at least to 2. But they finished, excuse me, with the best record in the NBA. So I'm going to take him out of the mix, on it. I'm going to take Dwayne Casey out of the mix as well. What he did, finishing number 1 and the second overall best record in the NBA, is very impressive. But I think with Toronto, they were a good team last year as well. And even 2 years before that, and I shouldn't, go back because that doesn't matter. They were number 1 or number 2 team. They were only 1 game behind the Cavaliers. But I don't think anyone is just surprised by this. Everyone's just really waiting on the playoffs, for the Toronto Raptors. So I'm going to take Dwayne Casey, out of there. So that leaves us Terry Stotts, Quinn Snyder, Brad Stevens, and Brett Brown. So I think it's going to come down to 3 guys. You got to throw Quinn Snyder in there. Again, they lost Gordon Hayward, and they're riding this wave and playing lights out with a rookie in Donovan Mitchell. Brad Stevens, he gets Gordon Hayward. He gets Kyrie Irving. He gets the hype. Gordon Hayward goes down in the first quarter. They lose. Marcus Smart gets injured. Then you lose Kyrie, and you still finish second in the Eastern Conference. That's something to be said. I'm not getting. I don't have them going to the finals, but just sure off of the basketball mind that Brad Stevens has, I think has gotten this team to where they are. So I got to throw Brad Stevens in there. So that leaves Terry Stotts and Brett Brown. Brett Brown, coach of Philadelphia 76ers. Terry Stotts, coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. Another tough choice. But I think if I'm going to put someone in my top 3, I was leaning on Brett Brown, but I may have to put Terry Stotts in there. I mean, Brett Brown has did, amazing job, but it's kind of like, it's about time. I mean, y'all been tanking for years. This was the point. You suck. You get the best players coming out, and you keep tanking until you get it right. There's guys that they drafted that they sent off that they drafted high draft picks in New Orleans Noel and Jahlil Okafor. Those guys didn't work out. They sent them somewhere else. They kept keeping on, and now they are trying to make these moves. I wanted to put Bret